Jake Paul to some, a marketing genius. To others, a 21st century villain. Paul, one of the most divisive figures of the modern world, began as a boy with dreams of fame but quickly became the internet's favorite villain. Loved by his most loyal followers and hated by those who can't stand his style, Jake didn't just revolutionize social media. He exploited it to build an empire rooted in chaos. Today, we'll explore the price of Jake Paul's success, a journey through the shadows of fame, beyond the millions of followers, beyond the mansions and championship belts, to uncover the darkest side of Jake Paul. A journey that will reveal what few dare to say, and what he would rather never come to light. The beginnings of controversy. Vine and YouTube. Jake began as the charismatic kid everyone wanted to watch. On Vine, his 6-second comedy skits won over millions of hearts. But when he transitioned to YouTube, something changed. His desire to stand out led him to create increasingly extreme content. Harsh pranks, public disturbances, and controversy-laden videos turned his channel into a battleground between fans and critics. In 2017, while living in the famous Team 10 house, neighbors accused him of creating a living hell. Wild parties, deafening noise, and even fires caused by his stunts made him the neighborhood's villain. The press dubbed him YouTube's troublemaker. And this was just the beginning. The infamous Team 10 house was the setting for countless viral videos and wild parties. But those who worked there tell a different story. Lights turning on and off by themselves, doors slamming shut, and an unsettling energy that affected everyone in the house. Some believed the place was haunted by the karma accumulated from Jake's toxic treatment of his team. The cameras never stopped rolling, even when the spotlights were off. Some former members hinted that Jake used this surveillance to maintain control, threatening to leak private footage if anyone broke the rules or tried to leave early. Was the Team 10 house a star-making factory, or a prison disguised as a millennial paradise? One assistant confessed that one night, while editing videos in the basement, she heard voices whispering her name. When she ran out, she found Jake laughing and saying, "The spirit of the algorithm is catching up to you." While some took it as a joke, others claimed to have experienced similar situations. The house was eventually sold, but to this day, visitors report feeling a strange presence. Jake Paul, the boxer and the chaos tycoon. When Jake decided to venture into boxing, the world laughed. But with every fight, it became clear that it wasn't just a spectacle. Jake knew how to win. During his late-night training sessions, Jake practiced unorthodox moves, combining brute force with a ruthless mentality. He wasn't just training to punch. He was training to psychologically destroy his opponents before they even stepped into the ring. However, boxing became yet another platform for his controversial promotional tactics. Insults, provocations, and viral stunts earned him enemies in the sport. When Jake transitioned to professional boxing, he shocked the world with his ability to generate millions of dollars. But behind his success lies a mystery. How did he manage to finance such big fights early on? Anonymous sources mentioned the presence of a ghost investor, someone who injected millions into his career in exchange for a secret deal. Some claim it's a tycoon with shady interests in social media, while others say Jake was forced to participate in illegal activities to repay the favor. Once, during a live stream, someone was heard in the background saying, "You can't escape this." Jake quickly ended the video, but viewers captured the moment, fueling the theories. One of his biggest controversies: the Black Lives Matter protests. The Black Lives Matter protests gathered passionate crowds, but in some places, the line between demonstration and chaos blurred quickly. Amid the smoke of tear gas and the sound of shattering glass, an unmistakable figure appeared at Fashion Square Mall. Jake Paul, followed by his inseparable entourage and a couple of cameras. He was caught on camera during the looting. Although he denied stealing anything, the footage fueled criticism, and authorities investigated him for being present at the scene. Jake was arrested for illegal trespassing. The controversy lies in the fact that Jake had heard the location was a hotspot that night and decided to capitalize on it to capture explosive content for his channel. What was supposed to be a realistic video, showcasing the intensity of the protests, quickly turned into a grotesque spectacle. Money, excesses, and lawsuits. Jake doesn't just accumulate titles and views. He also racks up legal enemies. Former partners and employees accused him of breaching contracts, refusing to pay agreed percentages, and making promises he never fulfilled. He was sued multiple times for contract violations, property damage, and allegations of fraud in product promotions. The Team 10 events, where he promised to teach young people how to become influencers, were labeled scams by many attendees. Moreover, his extravagant lifestyle and derogatory comments on serious issues, like the pandemic, brought him even more detractors. While the world faced an unprecedented health crisis, Jake organized massive parties at his mansion, ignoring public health warnings. Leaked videos showed dozens of people without masks or social distancing, dancing and celebrating in what seemed like scenes from an excessive music video. In an interview, he downplayed COVID-19, saying he didn't consider it serious. "I don't think it's as bad as they say," he commented with a carefree smile. The public exploded, calling him irresponsible and insensitive. In summary, the lawsuits, scandals, and disregard for the pandemic not only damaged his reputation, but painted a disturbing portrait of someone who seems willing to cross any line to stay on top. Jake Paul doesn't just play the role of the villain. He has made it his personal brand, leaving behind a mix of controversy, chaos, and a legacy that's hard to ignore. The $1 million contracts. Jake's first professional fight wasn't against just any boxer, but against a former athlete with a questionable record. But what few know is that before the fight, Jake signed a contract with a shady promoter who promised to make him a global star. The agreement included strange clauses, like guaranteeing a minimum of controversy before each fight and making sure the selected opponents had a record that favored him. Jake bought his first victories, but the details are even more unsettling. Veiled threats to the opponents to make sure they didn't give their best performance, and influenceable referees who always seemed to lean in his favor. With each fight, Jake became bolder. His provocations weren't just insults, they were calculated attacks to exploit his rival's weaknesses. On one occasion, he leaked personal information about an opponent to destabilize him mentally. Another boxer, after losing, claimed he had received offers to keep the show going. But Jake didn't just fight in the ring. He dominated the market. His events were true media circuses, with sold-out tickets and broadcasts breaking records. While the traditional boxing community despised him, Jake continued accumulating victories and millions. In 2023, Jake agreed to fight a veteran boxer, known for his toughness and impeccable skills. But something strange happened. Days before the fight, the veteran suffered an accident during training, leaving him partially incapacitated. Jake, of course, denied any connection, but rumors of sabotage flooded the networks. The fight went on, and although Jake won, the spectators noticed something strange in the movements of the rival. It was then that an unsettling theory arose. Were Jake's opponents being manipulated so they could never surpass him? The enemy of competition. In the highest circles of social media, talk circulates about Jake Paul's feared blacklist. Jake had a team dedicated to investigating and dismantling the reputation of any influencer who threatened his position. From smear campaigns on social media to anonymous emails sent to brands and sponsors, the methods were as silent as they were lethal. One creator claimed that, after rejecting a collaboration with Jake, he saw how his reach on platforms collapsed overnight. Though there is no conclusive evidence, theories point to Jake using his influence and contacts to manipulate algorithms in his favor. The planned victory. The arena was packed. The lights shone brightly, reflecting an atmosphere filled with tension. Everyone, from casual fans to the most renowned boxing experts, had gathered to witness what seemed like an epic story. Jake Paul, the social media phenomenon, against Mike Tyson, the boxing legend. The man who once terrified the world with his brutality in the ring. However, what few knew at the time was that everything had been carefully orchestrated. Jake Paul wasn't going to be the underdog facing the beast. No, this fight was going to have a very different outcome. One that would surprise everyone, but not because of the result, rather because of how it was planned. The promotion was as grandiose as ever. The bell rang and the fight began. In the first round, Tyson showed that he still had flashes of his former glory. His movements, though slower, still transmitted a sense of danger. Jake Paul, on the other hand, seemed to keep a calculated distance, as if more focused on avoiding a devastating blow than attacking. Until his punches, not so explosive, began landing with more precision. However, something didn't add up. As the rounds progressed, Tyson began to slow down suspiciously, allowing Paul to land punches that looked more like a show than real damage. Then, in the 7th round, the decisive blow came. It was a clean, precise punch directly to Tyson's face. It wasn't the kind of punch that would take down a man like him, but Tyson fell. Jake Paul achieved victory via technical knockout, sparking a divided reaction from the audience. A storm of applause and boos filled the stadium. In the post-fight interviews, Paul didn't miss the chance to proudly declare he had defeated a boxing legend. When the referee raised Jake Paul's hand, a murmur spread through the arena. Many knew something had been manipulated. The bets, the contracts, the backstage agreements. Everything had been set up for Jake Paul to win. Today, Jake Paul is remembered not just as a boxer, but as a master of spectacle. Someone who understood that boxing doesn't just happen in the ring, but also in the minds of the viewers. His tactics may have been questionable, but there is no doubt he changed the sport forever. "It doesn't matter if they love me or hate me," Jake once said. "As long as they buy the ticket, the show goes on." Is Jake Paul a master showman, or the villain we deserve in this age of influencers? Leave your answer in the comments. And if you want to learn about the price of success for more figures like Paul, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you next time.